Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we're on here. Just checking to see if we're in all the places. And we are so excited to be here. If you don't know who I am Shannon Morrison, and I'm coming to you live from Nebraska. We talk about all things emotional wellness, empowerment, and mindset, how to get to the root of the issue and create change and possibilities. And I'm so excited to be here with you. Today, we're going to talk about a tricky subject. All right, we're going to talk about a tricky subject because we really haven't talked about this ever. And I feel like we always feel like we're in the wrong when we fail. So today we're going to talk about how we embrace failure and how we absolutely can push ourselves forward when we don't feel like we're failing, actually, right? Who here resonates with this? Like, oh my gosh, I feel so much shame and blame if I try to create something and it doesn't work out for me, right? Or it doesn't work out in the intention that I set out to create, right? So my question for today, do you remember those different times that you failed when you tried something? And does it stop you from trying new things today? I believe it does. I believe that our brain protects us. It's our job. It's its job, right? Our brain is to protect us from the great white lion that's waiting outside the cave at any minute of the day, right? And our brain remembers things and our body feels those things. And I feel like we don't take risks if we have failed before. But what's underneath that? What's underneath that is self-sabotage, or like our nerds come up because something hasn't worked the way we thought it would, as in we tend to try to control the outcome, right? In my experience, everything that happens in our life's journey is a stepping stone to the next event or piece of the puzzle that you are creating in real time. Like, I used to get so angry and so frustrated if I was planning an event and it changed. If I was planning a birthday party and people were late, if not everybody went together to clean the house, get the dishes done, prepare the meal for having Christmas dinner. And it was this explosive, uncontrollable, emotional shit show for me. Put it in the chat if you resonate. Put a Y if you're like, hail to the yes. Okay, sounds like me, right? And when things didn't work out the way I intended, just like recently when I was playing on the bales with my nephews and I broke my ankle, the first thing I thought about was what the actual crap. The second thing, like 2 seconds later, is, all right, what are we here to learn? What are we here to grow in? What are we here to create because of this stepping stone in our journey, right? And so just like me and the amazing humans that I am working with in my coaching business, so many of us halt because of the fear of failure. And it is one of my things that gets in the back of my head and tries to protect me all the time. And I tend to think about it more than I really want to, or I think that I should think about it, right? There's always a tipping stone of fear of failure and a fear of success. And somebody very brilliant, not very long ago, I talked about this plank that I'm sitting on, right? So there's so much energy in the world, and 2023 is going to be a massive shift in the paradigm that we're creating. I feel like all of the energy that we have provided, and we're doing good in the world, and the emotional connection and the self-reliability and the self-regulation that we're putting out there is really making a difference in so many humans' lives, right? So I feel like we are creating that paradigm shift. I feel like we are creating that new world, but I feel like our empatheticness, our human design, our way of being is contending with the fears and the belief that we think we can, right? I believe that to my core, every one of us has an amazing journey, an amazing goal, amazing, profound ability to make this world different, right? To create something, an impact, whatever it is that's in your heart and in your core and in your brain that you want to create. I believe everyone can do even more than that, right? And I feel like we get in our own ass way. And so I describe this tipping stone of fear of success, of like, how can I produce something better than I already have? How can I contain, how can I do more on one-on-one? How can I create a bigger impact in the world? How can I build safe houses all over the world and do whatever it is that you in your heart, right? Be better connected with my partner in relationship, right? How do I do better than I am already? And then what if I can't attain these goals? What if I try and I don't hit this goal? And then what am I going to do and what am I going to feel? And most of the time, in my experience, I feel shame and blame and disappointment, and I feel like I'm letting everybody around me down when I fail. And what does that get you in? It gets you stuck in your own shit scoop. It gets you not moving forward. It gets you into undecisive circle of mechanics. And that's all you ever do is plan, reframe, plan, reframe, plan, reframe. And you don't ever do the action step to create something different because of your fear, because of your brain, because of that, remember that memory of that failure and how shitty that felt. What if it didn't feel shitty? What if every time you created something and it didn't work out the way your brain thought it would? What if it turned out better? What if it was supposed to be that way? What if the end of the book chapter completely changed and you're like, whoa, that was a huge shift, right? Like, I didn't see that coming. This is fucking amazing. What if it was like that? You would never know had you not tried and took the risk of failure. What if we failed more often? What if it was just an amazing failure after failure after failure after failure to get you, and you're like, holy cow, in 1 year of 1,000 failures, I figured this shit out. I created this, right? Just like the light bulb. I found 10,000 ways that didn't freaking make it work until I found the one that did, right? He didn't give up, right? And so what if how much more could we create? What could happen for us or for the humans around us or for the world that we're creating or for our household if every single day we just freaking tried? And in trying, I mean, we create an action step to doing something for this thing we have in our head. What if instead of planning and reading up to it and learning and taking another program and another program or reading another book, or like me, my coach was like, freaking stop it, Shannon, and just do the doing. Like, you got it all in your head, just do it. What if you freaking just did it? How much further would you be further along in your journey? How much more abundance would you have created? How much more impact? What would the ripple effect be if the humans around you, your kids, your family, your partner, your business, your mastermind group, saw you pushing forward every single step of the way? Even if you're creating a new path, even if we're cutting down the trees and the thickets as we go through the forest of new adventure, right? What would that feel like? What would that progress feel like? Even if we had no freaking clue how the end was going to happen, how we were going to create the change. What if we just threw it together as we went instead of them getting caught in the mechanics of trying to figure it all out and plan it to the utmost T and precisely the recipe, how long it's going to cook, the recipe, the ingredients, the oven, the convection or bake? What if we didn't know all of that and we did it anyway? What if we celebrated every single freaking failure we did because it created growth? in our heart. It created growth in our mindset, right? We're here to create a powerful shift in our mindset, a powerful shift in our belief, in our energy, which is going to incredibly shift your emotional wellness. Why? Because you're growing your emotional muscles. You're growing your mindset muscles. Every single time you pivot and you change 1% of something, you shift it a little bit. You're like, okay, that wasn't exactly how that was supposed to go. All right, I jumped off the bail. That's not exactly what was supposed to happen. But did I get 3 months of healing and sitting and connecting and creating and connecting to other humans to learn something or develop something different? Yeah. Did I have to sit and listen to my body and learn something different or a new way of being, which is asking for fucking help? Yes, I did. And so many things came from that ripple of that one event that I thought for 1 second that I failed. Was I intensely disappointed for several reasons? Absolutely. Did it create something different in my life, in my relationship, in my business, in my family? Heck to the yes, it did. Right? My family came to me, they supported me, I asked for help, I received love, I received support. So many connections, so many different calendar things happened for me. I put out a summit, right? The intentionality of what I created in my coaching business was massive. But the biggest thing that I created was relationships, social connection, which what do you think that created for me? Emotional resilience, emotional health at the middle of winter, right? I connected with more people. I touched base with more people. I had more time at home with my husband and my family and my kids because Shannon was slowed down. Shannon wasn't running to the next 5 things, right? I had to take more time outside. I had to take more intention in what I was creating, what I was practicing, how I was walking. Everything I did took more time. And my biggest nerd is I don't have time. That is my biggest thing that gets in my way in creating something with somebody or putting something in my calendar or just creating a program. I don't have time. I have these other 17 things to do. Well, all I had was time the last 3 months, right? In my healing, all I had was time. And time is intimacy, my friends. So I diverted. But seriously, what if we celebrated every single failure as an opportunity, as a growth, instead of feeling that shame and that disheartened feeling inside our heart, right? Put in the chat if you feel shame every time you make a mistake or you fail or you drop your cup of coffee or you are late for work or maybe you misread a situation and a conversation went south and you're like, oh, that felt bad, right? But what if you were able to feel into what was underneath that conversation, what was underneath that situation that happened? Was I rushing? Was I coming in with a different emotion that didn't need to happen? Was I tired? What was underneath that? How could I show up differently? What could shift this potential snag, right? So how do you clear that? You grow and you become a leader and you become authentic and you become vulnerable and you're like, guess what? I came off this way. This happened. I was late. It's my responsibility. And then what happens later, right? You get to create and shift something else later. That is the reframe. That is not the shame and blame. That's not sitting in the shit scoop. It's not sitting into negativity and emotions. It's clearing the emotions. It's clearing the clutter. It's clearing the bandwidth in your brain that gets constantly in that feeling of shame and blame and self-sabotage, right? So what if every single time we had an unexpected failure, we created a solution from it? How do you reframe that? What does that look like for you? This feels good to me. I've learned this in this last year is really getting underneath of a failure, and there's no shame and blame in it. It's all neutral. It's all neutral. And it's what can be created from this knowledge, what can be created in growth for us because of this situation. What is underneath this is an opportunity. And we get to celebrate every single opportunity like it's a fantastic party. We get to have a dance party of every single time we fail because it's only freaking going to get us closer to the result that we're trying to create, right? I read a post the other day, and life is short. Life is now. I know that. I get reminded all the time, as I'm sure you do, right? This is not a practice run. We get only one freaking life. There is no do-overs here. If you needed to hear that, there is no freaking do-overs. So we get to create whatever we want to create, right? I get a phone call today, and we get to create magic and connection with my grandma every single time we can, because life is now and life is not going to last forever. But just because she's 99 doesn't mean I didn't have the last 80 years with her, right? And we're very much grateful for the time, but you don't know if you're going to have 80 years with anybody. You have no idea if you're going to have 80 years to get it right. But by God, let's try. Let's try every single day to create something unexpected. Let's fail faster, because only thing we're going to do when we fail is to get closer to that result or that impact we want to do, right? Fail faster, because the opportunities that will come for you, with you, to your family, to your heart, to your relationships will come faster for you if we create an opportunity out of them, right? Create a different word for failure. Like, make it a different word. Put out the letters. Like, I always do that. I always write them down, and then I write a different word across to change it into a possibility. Because that's what failures are. They're possibilities to create an impact on you and on the other people around you. That is what's on my heart today. And I just really, really want to help people surge into their full potential, create freedom, create choices, create possibilities every single day, because it can only bring you more joy. It can only shed the light on somebody else that's sitting in the darkness. It can only create more connection with your family and your friends and the people that you get to receive connection from in your day and in your life. And so the best part about this is that when you create possibilities and you shift, you are shifting into this muscle, this mindset muscle. And every single time you do this, my friends, you're going to gain so much emotional abundance that it's just going to be a completely different passionate shift. And I see that I have comments here. Let me see if I can, we're going to be loud. Listen to that. I thought I turned my voice down. So, oh my gosh. Hello, Miss Sharon. Hello, Maria. Good to see you, ladies. Good to see you. So if this lands for you, put it in the chat. If you have always struggled, or if you felt in the past that failure was not good and it gave you the sinking feeling, think about where it feels in your body. Think about how it feels, where it sits in your body. And let's shift and reframe that in our mind, right? Because our mind is going to remember, and it's going to try to keep us safe. And our job is to create possibilities. And so when we have this thought process, we get to reframe it. So think of failure as an opportunity. You're winning. You're winning every single time you fail. Because every single time you fail, you get closer and closer to the impact you're about to create. All right? Oh my gosh. This is an amazing conversation. You guys, if I've missed your comments, I will come back to you. Put it in the chat, put in the comments below. If you are live, if you are watching the replay, I'm here every single Tuesday at 2:00 Eastern time and 1:00 Central time. And if you want more of this, check out my website.